Well, greetings everybody. We are in Hannover in the FlowFuse booth. We're talking to ZJ. Welcome to IoT World Community. Thanks for agreeing to speak with us. So we're talking about low code and talking about some of the significant enhancements that FlowFuse does to the Node-RED. Maybe start with defining what is Node-RED, and then we talk about the enhancements.
Node-RED is an open source project that was started at IBM about 10 years ago, and it's used in IoT to acquire data, then to normalize and transform the data and orchestrate it, so data can go from point to point. And then lastly also to visualize and interact with the data. So how does a line operator understand the data and can change their environment and their context with the data that they've just been presented.
Got it.
And then in terms of FlowFuse, what we see is that it's wide adopted already in factories and manufacturing, all the way to building management as well. Our companies, our customers, they have tens to hundreds to thousands sometimes of Node-RED instances, and you run into challenges of scaling this. Like, how do you roll it out 1,000 times with the right security parameters? How do you make sure that the right people have access? And how how do you make sure it's compliant as well?
Got it. And maybe expand a little bit on what you mean by an operator. So you gave example for manufacturing, gave example for buildings. Well, who would be the users of such a tool? Like
so low code. Node-RED is a low code tool, and therefore we can sell to all the manufacturing engineers. And these are mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, there's software engineers obviously as well, but also line operators. So if you are manning your station, you can join into automating your job. And therefore the whole team can collaborate and can work for a better optimized process.
Right, now this is the premier industrial event. You've made some enhancements to the Node-RED. What are those? Maybe talk about a couple of the features that you've enhanced for Node-RED.
Yes, so for one, like on the security level, we integrate with SSO, so the right people have access and it's all compliant and based on standards. Then we have role-based access control on Node-RED. Furthermore, we allow communication to and from devices, both point-to-point as well as remote development.
Got it. So on the security side for IoT, maybe talk about how you improve the functionality.
Yes, so the key differentiator for Node-RED versus the whole rest of the industry is that you have a community that pitches in all these connectors. Node-RED has a collection of connectors. These are community collaborated, but we help the community to provide better quality, and then we also certified some nodes, so you ensure that your data resides where you want it to reside.
Right, now you interact with a lot of developers. Talk about some of the common challenges that developers in this Node-RED community experiences.
Yes, so generally they have access to about 80% of the data. The last 20 is where the challenge is at. So how do I also connect to this machine, which we bought in the 1970s, but we're not going to replace because it still functions. And that is where Node-RED really, truly shines, to extract all the data and not just a subset. And because of manufacturing, the decisions are hard to revert, and if a decision is hard to revert, you need to make it very consciously, and you need all the data, and that's where we help customers.
Got it. Thank you for that. And now, Node-RED, FlowFuse has been around maybe a dozen years. Right?
FlowFuse itself, the company is 3 years old. The Node-RED is a dozen years old. Yes.
Got it. Okay, so just differentiate. Okay, thank you for that. And you've been leading this through. Talk about some of the challenges you as CEO experienced leading a startup like FlowFuse.
Yeah, so manufacturing was new to me, so I had to learn a lot about this whole new world. So last year I walked around Hannover Messe. It was quite the learning experience. This industry, the digitalization and IoT itself is now in the phase where they really start adopting, and it's not just new. And it's an exciting phase for us as a company to help them achieve results. And it's both for us and the customers an exciting time to get all the data and make this data not only stored in a database, but actually useful and get insights from those
So do you think because of the adoption rate, it's easier to penetrate a market like manufacturing that was before, which was controlled by maybe a dozen companies? Now it's a little bit easier because now digitalization has to happen. There's no if about it.
Exactly, and the replacement rate of hardware is fairly slow.
Yes.
So if the replacement rate is slow, you need to wait until there's a lot of data available and you can actually apply digitalization with value. And I think earlier, let's say a decade ago, there were options available. It was expensive and slow.
Right.
And now we are right at the cusp where almost everything is in a connected world already, and therefore it's a great time for us to enter the market.
Thank you. Talk about some of the beyond Hannover Messe, beyond this week in Hanover, we bring several tens of thousands of people. What are some of the goals that you have for FlowFuse?
So FlowFuse is a community project. Well, it's a business around the community. We need to keep the community very successful. So one of the things we did is build a new visualization layer, which we call Dashboard 2.0. They can now visualize data much easier than before, but also interact with the data. And I think the big thing for the community is how do we create interactivity, how do we ensure that everyone can collaborate and what they see and how they want to optimize the process, they can join into this optimization.
Thank you, ZJ. And if you have questions for ZJ, feel free to leverage the hashtag on the screen, or better yet, come in person here this week at Hanover. We'll make sure we address the questions online, but here you get all ZJ and many other experts from FlowFuse.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.